here we are with another Green Grimoire video, and we probably should have done this one first.
Probably.
Because of all the sites that we go to, this is probably the one we go to the most.
Definitely.
And certainly here in Sussex is one that we love. And you can just about see who we're here to see, just above Cerri's head. We're at the Long Man of Wilmington. So join us on a little walk. Oscar's here with us. Where is he? Down there somewhere. Behind me. There he is. That's his bung. There you go. Oscar. So let's go for a walk.
Oh, it's a bit muddy.
It's a bit muddy. The main path looks all right though.
Right, here we go.
But you've just got to get across that.
If I get
Let me lay my cloak upon the earth, my lady. Well, I would if I had one.
Oh look, I managed to traverse the mud. Okay, well it's a while since I've been up here because my legs are dodgy. This path is very steep in places, so we'll just see if I can get up there. I can get up there, but as you can see, it's a stunning situation, and that is the Downs right there. How far do the Downs run?
Oh, approximately 50,000 feet to the equator. I have no idea. Okay, so we're walking up. It's not actually as muddy as I thought it was going to be.
No, I must admit I thought it was going to be a lot muddier than this, but there you go.
Yeah.
Hopefully it won't be too slippery because it's chalk under very thin topsoil. It does sometimes get so slippery, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
So,
very.
But we'll just take our time.
Yes, we'll take our time. Oscar's having a break. There we are. Yeah, just take our time. Next year's planting has been done by the looks of things in the fields. So these two big fields, when we've come here for our open rituals, the Long Man, at Lunacer, we might have cut just a little sheaf from the field.
Tiny bits.
Tiny little bit, not much, just a tiny little bit to take up on the hill as part of the Lunacer ceremony, to bless and to give thanks for the sacrifice of the field, for John Barleycorn of the field. And I guess it was maybe 2016, something like that. Our friends from Australia were over, and we took them to the LongMan brewery, which is just over the top of the Downs, on the other side of the Downs. The LongMan brewery to make the most fantastic beer if ever you want to try some proper South Sussex ales. And while we were there at their kind of a beer equivalent of a cellar door,
beer cellar door.
The beer cellar door, they mentioned that the beer that they brewed originated in these two fields. And I said to them, well, you do know that your beer has been blessed by druids for the last 20 years. Because we've been doing that on the bottom of the hill there. And they laughed and they said, maybe we should put that on our marketing. Blessed by druids, Long Man ales, blessed by druids. That did make me laugh. But I like that. I like that it's that local connection thing again, isn't it? You know.
It's powerful stuff.
It is. So the Long Man of Wilmington, hill figure, one of two anthropomorphic ones, along with the one we did before, the Cernabas giant, or the Cernabas giant, never quite know how it is pronounced. And the Long Man is the one without a willy. So as I said
Makes
before,
up for it with two staffs.
yes, so he's on the hillside.
Staffs.
And he has two staves and he's standing like he is almost opening a doorway. Hello? And in the words of Spinal Tap, nobody knows what he's doing there. Nobody knows what they did there. The little people of the Long Man of Wilmington. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know what
There
it's
have
for.
been a number of archaeological digs.
Tell us about what they think the Long Man of Wilmington is.
Nobody's got any idea.
Well, that was quick. There are theories, though.
There are theories. There is the same as the Cern Abbas Giant. There is a priory. So there's a Christian priory local, and it is again the same as the Cern Abbas. Potentially the monks made it, although why? No idea why they would. They've definitely, one of the things that's different about the Long Man is that he's always been tiled. Well, since I think I remember him, if I remember rightly, he's been tiled in various different tiles rather than excavated chalk since the 1400s.
Right.
Red, yellow, was painted green in the war because too much of a landmark
Yeah.
for obvious reasons. But there's been various excavations and no one can actually determine exactly how old he is. Just, they've tried and tried. But, he's also, so what he is at the moment is concrete blocks.
Yep.
Which is a bit, but, whatever keeps him visible. And periodically, every 5 or 6 years or so, they come out with a bit of waterproof paint and give him a good old paint. Sometimes there's local groups. Our group was one, at least some of us.
Yes, we have
done it at
him.
least once or twice, but it's looked after by, I think, the Sussex Archaeological
Sussex
Society.
Sussex Archaeological Society, and they came up with something very clever. As they basically sold the bricks to people. So you kind of like so me and Kerry bought a brick, and it helps with the upkeep of the Long Man. And
so we're basically sponsoring.
That's
the Long
right,
Man.
sponsor the Long Man, which is great. And I guess it was about 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, because time is moving quick. The Sussex Archaeological Society sent out an email to all of the brick sponsors saying we're going to come and paint him on this date. But we only come along, and unfortunately we were busy, but I know a couple of the Gorseth people were there, and so he's actually freshly painted and looks magnificent and bright again.
Stunning
in the countryside. Yeah.
Sparkly.
So yes, what else do people say about the
there
Long
are
Man?
many kind of ideas. Hang on, we've just got to make a decision as to whether to go up the slippery, dark path or whether to go up the side of the field. I'm preferring the side of the field because that's slightly easier.
Let's go the side of the field.
So, there are ideas, possibly, that he could be some sort of image of, like, the Woden's dance. Woden, there's a particular belt buckle or brooch, I think it's a belt buckle, of the god Woden, being Saxon, Anglo-Saxon area. He had staves or spears and 2 ravens on his head. I'll put a picture up.
Yeah.
And he appears to be dancing, which could, possibly be what this is an interpretation of, maybe. Who knows? There are various
really
ideas. But, you know, nobody knows for sure. He has had his foot slightly tilted at one point. There are lots of ideas as to whether... I mean, he's a bit androgynous.
He is.
Because he's got...
They are.
They are.
Exactly. There we are.
Quite big hips. But again, as with a lot of these hill figures, hold on. Oh,
we're going up the hill now.
Very
Maybe we'll
unfit.
take a break and pick this up when we're actually at the top of the hill.
It's really odd, because when you see him from right up close underneath, you can barely see what he looks like. It's almost like he was meant to be seen by the gods. So.
Well, there he is. You can just see him behind us. And yeah, above the Long Man is a whole series of Bronze Age barrows and a Neolithic long barrow as well.
And flint mines.
The flint mine is right next to him. Yeah, the flint mine's right next to him. The long barrow apparently is angled directly to his head. And people say that he's a, you know, that he's a new figure and all that kind of stuff. But we've been coming to do ceremonies and rituals here for 24 years. Every 6 weeks for 24 years, rain, shine, snow, everything. As people who come along will testify.
There are some very hardcore pagans out there.
Yeah, there are. And we've noticed a few things about this hill figure as well. And one of the most amazing things that we noticed is that if you suggest that he is holding open the doors to the other world, which is what some people think, and I like that personally.
I think Rudyard Kipling said that in one of his in Puck of Puck's Hill.
The other way around.
The other way, Puck of Pook's Hill. That's it. Yeah. I remember reading that and going, oh yes, that is exactly how I feel about it all.
So he's holding open the door of the other world. And the hills, they are hollow and home to the Fae who dance on Midsummer's Eve. Somebody once said, apparently. Don't know who that was.
Some fella.
Yeah, some bloke. And so these hills behind us could well be hollow hills, the home of the Fae. And we noticed that at Samhain, which if you don't know what Samhain is, around the time of Halloween, he disappears into shadow. The sun does not shine upon the Long Man between Samhain and the spring equinox. He disappears into shadow.
As you can see today. It's very sunny out in front of us. We're facing north.
Yeah.
The Long Man faces north. He's on the north side of the South Downs, facing out over the Weald.
Yeah. And then come the spring equinox, the sun hits him again.
Yeah.
Isn't that strange?
Also, which I found amazing, is when you stand here for the winter solstice ceremony, just as the sun is going down, it literally rolls right the way down the hill. The wheel of the sun, as it's dropping, follows the line of the hill, so from almost above his head all the way down towards the west. And I've watched that so many times and it gives me goosebumps. It is just such a beautiful, powerful kind of image and so appropriate, you know, for that kind of time.
So it's really how he fits in with the landscape. You know, if you want to do landscape archaeology, you know, if you dig him up, then there's not much archaeology that suggests he's very old. But after, you know, the other day on Facebook they were saying that, you know, that the tradition of the veil thinning is not old. Well, you don't have to be old to be relevant, does it? I mean, maybe we've stumbled. Not every mystery has been solved, right?
Not every mystery has been solved, and nor should it be. The thinning of the veil is a very modern idea. Well, possibly in scholarly sort of circles, but come on. You know, the leaves fall from the trees. That's a veil dissipating. You see the skeletal bones of the land at this time of year. You know, the winds blow everything away. It's easier to imagine and to bring to mind the dead whispering through the bony, gnarly twigs of the trees. So, scholarly, all right. Who gives a stuff? Look at the land. It's talking to you. The veil is thinning.
Or is it?
Oh,
well, we said that, didn't we?
It depends what it is. What do you mean by the veil?
Is it the veil? I mean, the veil at Samhain, the veil between this world and the other world, is probably always there.
Yeah.
That's why it's called a veil, right? But maybe with the coming of autumn and winter, maybe we just can see it more. Maybe we're just more aware of it.
Yeah.
It's not that it's changed, it's just
We've
that we
changed.
are more aware of it. And I like that. I like that analogy too. And these kind of things, you know, these are, this way of thinking about the world and thinking about spirit is, to me, I mean, this is food for the soul for me, because, you know, mythology and lore and folklore and all that kind of stuff does feed the soul.
It's about our relationship with the land. Without those things, you're devoid of a cognitive relationship. There's a cognitive dissonance, I think that's maybe, where between that. I don't know, it might be completely the wrong term.
That's right. I mean, I just like cognitive dissonance. That sounds like a heavy metal band name. Cognitive. Next on stage at Download. Cognitive dissonance.
Sorry, Oscar. But it's like, we can, and we do. I mean, both Dave and I absolutely love our research. We love folklore, we love myth. And I love all that. I love that scholarly kind of endeavour. But I don't think it should rule our magical life. It's great to know this stuff. It's great to understand where these things have come from.
Or not come from.
However, if you let that impede your magical life to such a degree that you don't have a magical life, then there's something wrong with that. If we're always sort of sniping at each other going, no, that's not accurate and this isn't accurate, then where's the magic there? And I'm sorry if that's contentious.
No, it's not contentious. I was just going to reach for your soapbox.
I am standing on my soapbox. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No.
And everybody's entitled to their own view of the world, whatever gets you through the day, as long as it's harming nobody else, absolutely fine. I might say it's not how I feel. But that's, as long as you're not trying to stop me feeling that way or telling me I'm wrong, then whatever.
So the Long Man of Wilmington.
After Kerry's long rant.
Yes, so we've had some amazing experiences up here. But we had a Peruvian shaman.
Oh, that was amazing.
Here. Just was out walking the downs, and we happened to be doing a ceremony up here.
Samhain ceremony.
A Samhain ceremony, and his name was Jesus.
And his friend was called Mary.
Yeah, so it was Jesus and Mary, the Peruvian shamans, stumbled upon our ceremony, and they blessed the circle with that awesome wood. I can't remember what it's called.
Santa Paula. I'll put the.
It's a smelly wood, and it's
beautiful.
just amazing.
It's incredible.
And he blessed the circle with it, didn't he? And he spoke in Peruvian words, and it was just lovely.
Oh, it just made me go all wobbly at the knees. I completely lost it through that ceremony. It was just incredible.
Yeah. We had Egyptian dancers turn up who did an Egyptian dance as part of the Eisteddfod. That was amazing.
It was.
We had a Native American turn up.
Yeah.
And all of these
Buddhists.
Yeah, Buddhists, and they don't know
Christians.
that this is happening. We don't know that this is happening. They're just
advertise.
walking the downs, and they just see a circle of people and go, oh, yeah, join in. Yeah, it's just fantastic. Yes, we did have a very, very nice Christian man who was standing outside of the circle, speaking in tongues, blessing us.
He wasn't outside the circle. He came and joined the circle.
He did, and it was a little bit
Very
like
rude.
Witchfest with their loud hailers. He would have been one of those, you're going to hell kind of things. And of course, we just ignored him, got on with it. It's nice to know he cared. Yeah, we've had snow up here.
Blizzards, yeah.
Blizzards. We had a beautiful, I can't remember what it was, might be an Imog or a winter solstice. But the whole of the valley, the Weald that you will have seen in some of Kerry's shots here, was full of mist.
Oh, that was another Samhain.
Yeah, and there was
just rolled in
and it
as we
rolled
called
along
in.
the side just as we called the mists of the cauldron of Anun, so the mists rose.
It was
Funny
amazing.
That was amazing too.
That was amazing.
Yes. Some friends of ours have come over with relatives and loved ones and their ashes, and they've been just scattered where we hold our ceremonies here. I think that Alexander's ashes were scattered there, and I think Doreen Valiente, something to do with Doreen, is on the Long Man. It's just if you're a Sussex pagan, Sussex witch, Sussex druid, then this iconic figure on the landscape can't but be in your heart.
Yeah.
It's been vandalised a couple of times with, willies put onto it.
Scarves, which weren't too
Scarves
bad.
and all that kind of stuff.
But then the whole blooming hunt people burned great swathes of things into things. That was...
The Countryside Alliance, they did that.
Trini and
No
Susanna,
ban.
bloody
They
people.
visited it. And
Clambered all over it.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to clamber all over it.
No, ideally it's... And in truth, he is definitely a figure that is better observed from a distance. If you see him from directly above, he stretches out. He is a long man, and it's the perspective of him on the hill that gives the impression of being a standard size figure. But actually, if you look at him from above, he's very long, a long man. Yeah.
There's also, going back to folklore and stuff, there's loads of stories about two giants throwing stones at each other, which is associated with here. And there's supposed to be a goddess figure in the landscape. Doesn't Philip talk about that?
Well, there's over the other side of the hill. There is a white horse.
Oh yeah, that's
and
quite recent though, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's on. If you come to this area, and you come to the Long Man, go around the back towards where the Long Man Brewery is, and you will drive along that back road, and you will see a white horse. Take a good look at the landscape that the white horse is carved upon, because it's carved upon what look like two legs of a body of a figure lying down, and the white horse is on the right thigh of the leg, and there is a distinct V-shaped woodland right in the middle of those two legs. It's a very rude landscape. Yeah, but that is there without
Long
without
men
a shadow
and
of doubt.
rude ladies lying about.
Absolutely. So yes, that's just on the other side of the hill. So
it's very
pop over
popular
there as well.
here, and there are many. I mean, our ceremonies are open to the elements and open to everybody who comes up here, and it is so popular here. People come. Was it a couple of ceremonies ago? We had an Icelandic.
We did. We had an Icelandic
couple.
Yeah.
Who asked where his knob was.
I said, "You're at the wrong place, mate." Sounding very Australian, you're at the wrong place, mate. Yes, yes.
But I mean, there are hill walkers here, and the landscape is well loved here, and the ancestors on the hill are just, it's just such a powerful place to be.
Anyway, I think that we should head off to a certain tree now.
Oh, come see the tree.
Come and see the tree.
It's beautiful.
See you in a minute.
Always leave the countryside how you found it. Shut gates if they're shut. Open gates. Leave gates open if they're open. So, back down. That's a very slippery path down on the right, or we go down the field path.
Well, we're here in a lovely little churchyard.
In the village of Wilmington.
Wilmington Church. It's a 12th century church. That's quite old. And in the churchyard is the most glorious being.
It's just phenomenal.
The Wilmington yew tree.
It's just beautiful.
Old, 1500 years old, they reckon, something like that.
I think so. There's a little plaque inside the porch of the church, and they estimate it to be around 1500 years, I think.
So, predating the church by about 300 years, which for a yew is a young 300 years, nothing to a yew tree. But there's a lot of churchyard yews all over Britain. And
this one is pretty spectacular, though.
yeah, it's literally being held up with bits of wood, stopping it from falling over.
It's quite windy today, so if the camera shakes...
It's because of the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah. From one angle, it just looks like a stairway. It's like a stairway to heaven. And
there's a song in that.
yeah, there's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold. And I'm sure that she'll look at that and go, and head up there going, there's a stairway to heaven.
I think one of the things I love about yew trees is the fact that they're so sinewy. There's so many faces and so much, and they ripple. It's like watching a waterfall that's been frozen, particularly this one. It just, the patterns in the bark and inside, when you can see the wood inside, something magical about them.
They're amazing, and they're seen as a tree of life and death and rebirth. Considering they're in a churchyard, cemetery, yeah, makes sense, doesn't it?
They were probably here long before the church, the graveyard was, I would imagine.
Yeah, at least 300 years before the graveyard was here. But when you look at the way that a yew tree grows as well, is that it takes a long time to mature. We've got a yew tree in our garden, that's really...
It's about 30 years old.
It looks like a sapling, really. It's getting there. And
they're just so resilient.
And when they get to a certain point in their growth, the branches seem to reach down, and where those branches touch the earth, the branch will grow roots of the same tree and then break off. And it's the same tree. It's not a seed that has taken root, it's self-perpetuating. And in theory, if it kept doing that, the tree would never die.
Everlasting trees.
And we see that a lot at Kingley Vale, and we'll have to take you to
Oh,
Kingley Vale.
we'll take you to
one
Kingley
day.
Vale.
It's the largest youth forest in Europe, in Sussex, down near Chichester, and we'll do a trip out to that at some point and talk a bit more about yew trees then. But in the meantime, just soak up this beautiful being here, and just the atmosphere of this place. And peace.
It's peace and stillness and longevity, and if you think about the depths of winter and the evergreens that hold the promise that life will come again, I think that's a beautiful imagery coming up to the longest night. Not too, well, it's about a month away, isn't it? So in the depths of winter, when it all seems lost, and back in the past when,
would the sun actually ever come back?
Yeah,
without
you kind of
certain rituals and stuff.
Something would come back, as Terry Pratchett.
But the yew and the holly and the evergreens, they give a kind of like, yeah, we're still here. The green man's still here, just in a different guise. So just beyond the yew tree is two more yews that form.
There are quite a few here.
Yeah, but these two form the most amazing gateway. So,
we'll take you through a mystical gateway.
Go and have a look at that now. And people we've brought here have used this gateway as kind of part of a journey, whether or not they're, visitors from overseas and needing to let things go or something. It's a distinct yew gateway, magical space.
If you're feeling in need of a gateway, if you're feeling in need of a transition, then this beautiful pair of trees in this place of transitions, as the sun is slowly setting, seems like a perfect place. Let's walk through together.